Welcome back to More Sip2Tally. I'm your host, Coach Evans. And today on our More Sip2Tally Power Rankings, we're going to take a look at the number 21 team, the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay Packers had a resurgence toward the end of the year, led by their quarterback, Jordan Love. And let's get right into their quarterback room. They have the number 13 quarterback room, again, led by Jordan Love. And Jordan Love last year had a coming out party. Gave him the reins. First half of the year was sketchy. Second half of the year, him with those young receivers, they took off. He had 4,159 yards, 32 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, and a 62.1 QBR. He looks like he's going to ascend to be the next great quarterback in Green Bay. Follow the trend. They had Brent Favre, drafted Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers sat. They moved on from Brent Favre. Aaron Rodgers took off. Aaron Rodgers, they drafted Jordan Love. Jordan Love sat. Moving on from Aaron Rodgers, looks like Jordan Love is going to take off. So Green Bay looks like they know what they're doing with the quarterback situation, and Jordan Love looks to be like the next great quarterback in Green Bay. Who else is in that room? Sean Clifford. Sean Clifford, if I'm not mistaken, he only had 37 passing yards last year. He was 1 for 1 with 37 passing yards, no TDs. And then they drafted the Tulane quarterback, whose name is Michael Pratt. Again, he has no stats. He was drafted from Tulane last year. That's their quarterback room, and I have that quarterback room ranked 13. Move on to their running back room. In said running back room, leading off, Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs last year had 233 carries for 805 yards and 6 touchdowns, 3.5 yards per carry. And Josh Jacobs is coming over from the Raiders. Josh Jacobs is not the same player that led the league in rushing 2 years ago. Also in that room, they still have Quadzilla. Last year, that's A.J. Dillon. He had 178 carries for 613 yards and 2 touchdowns. He had 3.4 yards per carry. Also in that room, Marshawn Lloyd. Marshawn Lloyd is the rookie from USC. So they got a good trio of running backs in that room. Not sure how much they'll get out of Josh Jacobs, but I think the scheme is going to help him. A lot of outside zone stuff is really going to help him. He can catch the ball also. So he may not have as much rushing yards as he did that year where he led the league in rushing, but he should be very productive in the run game and also catching the ball out the backfield. I don't think either one of these guys can catch the ball as well as Aaron Jones did, but they should be able to catch the ball enough to help the offense get better. And as far as Jordan Love, with what he does with his young receivers, they won't be asked to do a lot of pass catching because they got a great set of skill guys, which we're going to talk about here in a second. But again, I have their running back room ranked 14. Let's move on to their receivers. Now, they have a good plethora of receivers that I really like. Let's start with Christian Watson, who's supposed to be the star in the group. He had 28 catches for 422 yards and 5 touchdowns. But I will say this about their receiving room. At any point in time, any one of these guys can beat you. They're all young. All young. This will be, I think, Christian Watson's 3rd year, and he's probably the oldest one or one of the oldest ones in this group. Last year they were all 2nd year or below. So they got a chance to grow and all get better, and at different points in the season, different ones shine. And Christian Watson is just the first one in the group, a tall, fast 4'3" guy, and the sky's the limit for this group. I was really impressed with this group toward the end of the year. But Christian Watson is one of the dudes in this group. Let's move on. Secondly, in this group, we have Romeo Doubs, who was drafted in the same class with Watson. He had 59 catches last year, 674 yards, 8 TDs, 11.4 yards per catch. Another guy like that you just can't home in on Watson. You can't home in on Doubs because then they'll hit you with Jaden Reed. Jaden Reed last year, 64 catches, 793 yards, 8 touchdowns, 12.4 yards per catch. Now, that's a good trio of receivers to start with. Let's talk about these guys on the back end that, can hurt you also. Dontavian Wicks showed up. 39 catches, 581 yards, 4 TDs, 14.9 yards per catch. That's your number 4 receiver. Go to your number 5 receiver. The lightning fast Bo Melton. Bo Melton ain't show up till show up significantly to week 16, 17, 18. He had 16 catches, 218 yards, 1 touchdown, 13.6 yards per catch. Had a really big game week 16 or maybe week 17 and showed you what he could add to the offense. Then lastly, you got Malik Heath. Guy that I'm familiar with from Callaway High School in Jackson, Mississippi, played at Ole Miss. He had 15 catches, 125 yards, and 1 TD. So you got 6 young pass catchers in that group that really can grow with, I was going to say Aaron Rodgers, with Jordan Love, and they can really, really be good. And we haven't even talked about the tight end. They have a really good tight end, too. I have their tight end group ranked 20th, but that's because he just hasn't showed you everything that he can give you yet. Their tight end that I'm really raving about is Luke Musgrove. This will be his second year out of Oregon State. Last year he had 34 catches, 352 yards, and 1 touchdown, but he hasn't even scratched the surface of what he can be yet. Who else? My bad. Also in that group is Tucker Kraft. Tucker Kraft had 31 catches, 355 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and 11.5 yards per catch. And rounding out their tight end room is Alex McGough from FIU last year. Let's talk about the O-line for a second. Walker, Jenkins, Myers, Ryan, and Tom. Tom being the best graded O-lineman at 79.7, and also adding a better runner in Josh Jacobs. They should be a lot better up front. The second year under Jordan Love under the helm. The second year with the receivers getting better. Just a lot of continuity coming together. They really should be a lot better on offense this year. And not to say they were bad last year. The second half of the season, they just started clicking. So I expect them this year to come out firing on all cylinders. But I have their O-line ranked 28th. And that's mainly because of that center and the right guard. The center was 54.7. The right guard, Ryan, was 49.3. If they can improve on their grades, they should be better. But I like Tom. I know what Jenkins can give you, even though he had a little of a down year. And Josh Jacobs should take some of the pressure off of that O-line. Let's go over to the dark side for the Green Bay Packers. 4-3 defense now. Preston Smith, 1 edge. Last year, Preston Smith had 28 tackles, 28 solo tackles, 8 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. He's one of your edge setters on one side. The other side, your edge setter, is Rashawn Gary. Rashawn Gary, he is ascending to be trying to get in that premier edge rusher category. He just teeters on the outside of it, but he puts together some moves that he's an elite athlete, I tell you that. He's an elite athlete. Last year, 23 solo tackles, 9 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. Rashawn Gary is just on the verge of getting in that elite pass rusher range. He's right there. He's very, very, very close to being there. Coming out of Michigan, what's this, 24? His 5th or 6th year coming out of Michigan. Rashawn Gary is on the verge of being one of them dudes in the pass rush range. And he always comes up clutch for him. Always comes up clutch. Interior, they got Devontae Wyatt from Georgia, who I'm looking to have a breakout year, man. I thought he was going to be a lot better than he was coming out of Georgia. He just hadn't showed up yet. He had 18 solo tackles, 5.5 sacks. I need him along with the guy I'm going to mention next. I just need them to hold the middle and eat up blockers and allow their linebackers to run. But I need Devontae Wyatt to shore up that role and be just as good as this guy right here is, Kenny Clark. Kenny Clark is a guy that he got 22 solo tackles. He don't need a lot of tackles. He just eats up blocks and allow them linebackers to run. He has 7.5 sacks from the defensive tackle position, which is amazing. That's pretty darn good for one tech to have 7.5 sacks, and he had 2 forced fumbles also. I have that defensive line edge group ranked 17th. That's a good group though. That's a really good group, a solid group. Preston Smith, Devontae Wyatt, Kenny Clark, and Rashawn Gary. That's a solid group. Let's go to the linebacker group. Their linebacker group I have ranked 30th, and that's with a guy that I really like. That's with a guy in this group that I really, really like. Start in the middle, Quay Walker. Quay Walker's going to be their Mike, standing at a 6'4". He had 59 solo tackles, 2.5 sacks, 1 interception. Quay Walker is a rangy, tall, fast, violent Mike, but he is prone to mistakes. That hurts his grade. He's prone to being fooled by QBs, being fooled heavily by play action. And what I mean by that is he'll bite too hard on play action. He'll get fooled into the line too much and leave pocket windows behind him for crossing routes and stuff like that. Too big. So that kind of hurts the grade for him also. Other linebackers in this group, Edgerrin Cooper. Now, Edgerrin Cooper is probably going to play Mike for them. That's the rookie from Texas A&M. So that hurts that grade, having a rookie that's probably going to start. And then the other linebacker in this group is also Isaiah McDuffie, 56 solo tackles, half a sack. So you see why their linebacker group is ranked so low. But the best one in this group is Walker. And I really like Quay Walker's game. And if you're a Madden player, Quay Walker would be a great user. Let's go on to their secondary. Secondary, they got one of my favorite corners in the secondary. Let me get to it. Jair. Jair is one of my favorite corners in the secondary. He had 23 tackles, 1 forced fumble. He didn't have any interceptions, which is crazy. He had 5 passes defended. But just think about this. A couple years ago, 2 years ago, matter of fact, Justin Jefferson was on pace to get 2,000 yards. They had those 2 late games with Green Bay. He didn't sniff the 2,000 yards. He was well on pace to get 2,000 yards. This dude stopped him from getting it. This individual right here that you're looking at stopped him from getting it. And his play didn't fall off last year. He don't have interceptions because people don't throw at him. That's why. Don't think the 0 interceptions is a negative thing toward him. People don't throw at this dude. They don't test him. They respect him just that much. His running mate is Eric Stokes. Eric Stokes only had 5 tackles last year. Come back off injury. No PBUs, no interceptions. And then their nickel corner is, let me tell you who that nickel corner is. Keyshawn Nixon. Keyshawn Nixon's a nickel corner and their return guy. Keyshawn Nixon is probably going to have a huge role with the new return rules. So he's going to have dual roles. He's going to be a return guy and he's going to be that nickel corner. He had 59 tackles last year and he had an interception also. Let's go to their safety room. Xavier McKinney is one of their safeties coming over from the New York Giants. Last year for the New York Giants, he had 79 tackles, a forced fumble, 3 interceptions, and 11 passes defended. So I like that. Oh, I didn't tell you what their rank was for cornerback. I'm sorry. My bad. I'm tripping. Their cornerback ranking, 20th. They got Jair, but the other 2 guys are average corners at best, and they get tested a lot, so they're 20th. Their safety room is 8th. They got Xavier McKinney in there. I just gave you Xavier's stats. He's a stat sheet stuffer, and I love that out of safeties. And they also got the rookie, Javon Bullard. Got Javon Bullard from Georgia. Now, it's a rookie. It should be lower, but I really like this kid. This kid can play. He played corner. He moved to safety. He could play. He could do either one of them and be good at it. He may even drop down and play that nickel spot and let Keyshawn Nixon get the boot, and they play Johnson at the other safety. So they may even play Anthony Johnson at this other safety and let Bullock be that nickel corner. And if they play Anthony Johnson at the safety, he had 18 tackles, 1 interception, and 3 passes defended last year. So they got variety back there in the secondary. So let me give you all of the numbers, and we can look at it and then add it up and divide it and tell you what their score is. Packers, quarterback 13, running back 14, wide receiver 17, tight end 20, O-line 28, D-line edge 17, linebacker 30, cornerback 20, and their safety room at number 8. I had the safety room at 8 because I really like Xavier McKinney and I really like Javon Bullard. Now, if they change and put Anthony Johnson there and take Bullard out, I probably should change the score, but I really like Bullard. I add them all together and the bottom score is 18.55556. That makes them the number 21 team on the more Sip2Tally power rankings. Let's take a look at their draftees this year. We talked about some of them so far. Jordan Morgan, the offensive lineman from Arizona, who may get into that role at guard. He may fall into one of those guard spots that we talked about, especially with the right guard that had a 45 grade. So Jordan Morgan may fall into that spot. Adrian Cooper, the linebacker, is probably going to start at Mike. Javon Bullard, who I just raved about. Marshawn Lord, who's going in as a 3rd running back, who's probably going to see some time. Tyron Hooper, who's a linebacker from Missouri, who may get some special teams roles. Evan Williams, a DB. Any of those DBs can get a shot because the only DB that's really set is Xavier McKinney and Jair. Jacob Monk, O-lineman from Duke. Kitana Oladapo, a DB from Oregon State. Travis Glover, offensive tackle from Georgia State. Michael Pratt, who's the 3rd quarterback from Tulane. And then Kalen King, a DB from Penn State. Kalen King was projected to go higher, but I don't know what happened. He ended up going in the 7th round, and that's their draftees for the 2024 Green Bay Packers. Are the Packers too low? Are they too high? What you think about the assessment of the Green Bay Packers, let me know in the comment section. I appreciate you guys for coming out. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you chose to be here with me. Like, comment, subscribe, share, and I'll see y'all soon, man. I appreciate y'all.